Number 21, Arizona State beating number 14, BYU, 28-23 in a wild ending. Arizona State, Dalton, stormed the field twice in this game. It took approximately 15 minutes to clear the fans off the field for the final Hail Mary that was unsuccessful for BYU. But here are their 5 highest graded players. Safety Miles Rouser, 77 grade. Edge defender Prince Dorba, 75.8. Wide receiver Jordan Tyson, 75.7. He's really had a nice last few weeks for Arizona State. Cam Scattaboo with a 70.9 grade. Clayton Smith, 66.2, and Sam Levitt with a 74.8 mark. Let's go over to BYU with their highest graded players in this loss. Tyler Batty, 76.3 grade. Linebacker Miles Hall, 75.4. Wide receiver Keenan Marion, 71.6. Safety Tanner Wall, 71.1. Defensive tackle John Nelson, 70.8. And Jake Retzloff, actually their highest graded player, with a 78.5 grade. Dalton, for you, what was the stat that told the story in this major win for the Sun Devils?
I'm wrapping it all into one. The stat, the most impressive, the everything. The entire story for Arizona State's offense, right? What did I tell you in the preview? Look, they are just a matchup issue because of 3 guys. Sam Levitt, who's playing really well at quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. Cam Scattaboo at running back, and Jordan Tyson at receiver. These are the 3 guys that run their offense, without question. Tyson, again, playing more on the outside recently, mixing it up inside, outside a little bit. Hottest receiver in college football right now. Let me start with Scattaboo, though, in the run game. 147 rushing yards. Woo. The rest of the team had 7. He's the guy. He's just the guy. Now, hold on. I should say this. Sam Levitt had 40-something. And then he gave away, I believe it was 36 yards at the end when they were burning the clock. So Sam Levitt, when you take out the last
Pretty insane Dillingham move at the end of the game to try to win the game that way.
I even tweeted this out. Props to Sam Levitt for sacrificing the stats.
Yeah.
Trying to milk the clock and get a win in this game. You deserve better than that in the stat line. But either way, at the end of it all, 7 rushing yards from non-Scattaboo players. 3 touchdowns, 6 forced missed tackles, 107 yards after contact. One of the best backs in college football.
Yeah.
Without question.
Easily.
Right? Jordan Tyson, 9 catches, 125 yards, 77 receiving grade. Another thing we have here is this threat percentage, right? That's basically a receiver's target share for a game and across the season, among the rest of his peers on the team. 59% threat percentage. I think it was 9 out of 17, I want to say. I mean,
so 6.
Oh, no, sorry. No, it was I have to find the targets. That's the 9 catches. It was like 15 targets out of something. I think it was 28 or 29.
So he was targeted on 60% of his routes, basically.
Essentially, yeah. When he's out there, he got targeted like 25 or 30 is getting high, and if you're getting towards 40, you're like, whoa, that's...
The superstars are around like the 30 range.
Yeah. He was at 59, which is just ridiculous. Those 2 guys, especially in the first half, which I know you're going to talk about, they accounted for 85% of Arizona State's offense in the first half. They're just 2 superstars. Like Scattaboo, 9th in overall grade among running backs this year, 10th in rushing yards, 2nd among all backs in receiving yards, and between the 2, 87 forced missed tackles, 2nd in the country behind Ashton Ginty. He just refuses to be tackled. When you put rushing and receiving together, he's 2nd in the country. Jordan Tyson, I talked about him on Tuesday in the preview. Right now, he's having... Remember last year how in the second half of the year, Teteroa McMillan just became one of the best receivers in college football for the last 8 games? Jordan Tyson's doing that right now. Since week 7, leads the nation in receiving grade, leads the Power 4 in catches, leads the Power 4 in yards, 2nd in the Power 4, 3.7 yards per route run.
Wow.
It's efficient, it's explosive, it's inside, it's outside. These 3 guys, when you line up and you play Arizona State, they're going to run their offense through Sam Levitt, Cam Scattaboo, and Jordan Tyson. And on this day, especially Scattaboo and Tyson, those were the best players on the field. Arizona State is going to live and die with their best players, and those best players are really darn good.
Yeah, our guy Donnie in the chat made a good point. If this holds right now in the Big 12, and we get Arizona State versus Iowa State in the Big 12 title game, which we'll talk about the other games too, because to even get to that is insane. We can get Darian Porter against Jordan Tyson in that title game.
It's incredible.
That would be a hell of a matchup to watch. The star corner for Iowa State and Darian Porter against the star receiver for Arizona State and Jordan Tyson. My side of the story, though, is Arizona State just dominated this first half. First half EPA per play, Arizona State 0.316, BYU negative 0.322. BYU had a furious comeback in the second half. They outscored Arizona State 20-7, but it was not enough because Arizona State had a 21-3 lead going into halftime, and the difference was the run games in the first half. Arizona State 112 rushing yards, 4.9 yards per carry. Cam Scatterbu, 96 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns in the first half against BYU. Meanwhile, the Cougars had 30 rushing yards and 2.5 yards per carry in this one. So about a quarter of the rushing yards that Arizona State had and about half the yards per carry that Arizona State had as well. Arizona State built up such a lead going into the locker room that it was able to survive a pretty bad second half by their standards, obviously. BYU really did outplay them in the second half, but Arizona State dominated so much in that first half that they were able to survive it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's where you get that lead. And the only thing I didn't really understand from Arizona State was when they were up 21-3, and their first drive of the second half, it was like 4th and goal from the 6, and they didn't kick the field goal. And they went for it, and there was a chop block, and it was incomplete anyway. And it kind of gave BYU some life, and then they kind of took that life into a really good football game. I mean, it's
Kenny Dillingham's a very aggressive coach in a lot of ways.
He sure is. He tried to put the nail in the coffin there. Yeah, and they left the door open a little bit. But Arizona State, they just keep responding, and for this team to be 9-2, it's. Kenny Dillingham, I know Kurt Cignetti's up there, Kalani Sitake's up there, but Kenny Dillingham, he's got to be in the running for National Coach of the Year as well. And I've got it here too. Jordan Tyson, I think there was more to it when I had plays negated by penalties. I think once we took out plays negated by penalties, Jordan Tyson had like 15 targets on 28 or 29 routes, which is just ridiculous. I mean, he's just the guy. But no, Dillingham, he knows what this team is. They're the 3 stars on offense, and they grind it out. And defensively, I've said it earlier this year, they're not the most talented defense by any means. I don't know if there's any NFL players on this defense. They play as hard as anybody, and they tackle, and they just want to go out there and hit you. That's their only goal, is to go out and hit you and especially get off to good starts. We've seen this a couple weeks in a row now. Shut down K-State in the first half, shut down BYU, only 3 points. Only 3 points between those two teams in the first half of these 2 games they've just played. Arizona State's rolling, and they're the one team that controls their own destiny.
It's insane, Don. I'll go into my most impressive real quick before we move on, because you already did yours with the stat tell story and most impressive of those 2 players right there, and Jordan Tyson and Cam Scatterbu. But the Arizona State pass protection was also outstanding in this one. They had an 82 pass blocking grade as a team, 0 sacks and 3 pressures allowed on 27 snaps, 0 pressures allowed on 16 dropbacks in the second half. The lowest pressure rate allowed all year at about 11%. Zero other pass rush losses in this game either for Arizona State. So they did a great job. The entire offensive line had a really good day, and Sam Levitt had all day in the pocket due to the clean pockets that they were giving him out there. So only 3 pressures allowed, 0 in the second half, 0 other losses either that did not result in pressures. So the Arizona State offensive line, I want to shout them out as well, because the Sam Levitt and Cam Scatterbu and Jordan Tyson, they're all phenomenal players, but it probably would have been possible without the offensive line playing as well as they did on Saturday.
And it's been, for me, the one big flaw in BYU's defense is they just don't have a great pass rush. Their run defense has been really good. For the most part, their coverage has been solid, but they don't have. Tyler Batty's pretty good, but they don't have an elite pass rusher on their team, and I think there's been times this year where it's hurt them now.
Yeah, shout out our ASU alum in the chat, Drake Holiday. He's been the ASU guy all year for us in the chat, and a big win.
He's riding high right now.
Big win for Arizona State on Saturday.
You mentioned that Hail Mary, too. How about the heart attack? Because it was actually caught 2 yards short of the end zone. Because, of course, the game had to end like that. Yeah.
And there's a lot of people on Twitter, and I agree with a delay of game not being called, but there are a lot of people on Twitter saying, hey, with how long it's taken to get the fans off the field, there should have been a 15-yard penalty for BYU to move up. But the one thing I'll say against that, it was the clock did strike 0. Then they reviewed it and put a second back on the clock. So it wasn't like, the clock was at 1 second and the fans rushed the field. Like, the fans thought the game was over. It's a weird situation. I understand both sides, but I would not have thrown the flag.
There's probably going to be some conversations about this. About this field storming.
Theoretically, yeah, there will be. Theoretically, though, if they did move up and they did still complete it, it would have been a touchdown.
To be honest, the other one too, just mention real quick. I don't even know what in the world happened at the end of the Oklahoma game too.
Oh yeah.
Was there 30 something seconds on the clock?
Yeah.
Not that it matters.
Well, they got the fans off the field. I think they knelt once, and it was like, all right, come back on. Yeah. So again,
they just got it done a little quicker.
I tweeted out these premature field stormings are hilarious. They're going to outlaw. They're probably going to punish schools even more severely now.
If not, just straight up ban it, because and I know it's a great fun part of the game, but like
I don't know how you ban it though.
You can't. I don't know either. If 30,000 people.
They try already. Like
if 40,000 people storm a field,
it's a stampede right out there.
Yeah,
it's the Lion King out there if you do that.
Yeah. I don't know. But that was the other one too. At the end of the Oklahoma game, I was like, "What? Wait, are we done or are we not?" I don't even know how or when the game ended. Honestly,
it was insane. But yeah, it's been an incredible ride for Arizona State, and now they control their own destiny, right? As long as they just win, they're in for the Big 12 title game.
If they beat Arizona, they're the only team that controls their own destiny. Yeah.
Wow, yeah, it's going to be insane for next week in the Big 12 and the final week of the regular season. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.